Welcome to Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe, and hype video. Join members to gain early access to new videos.
The MC is reborn inside of Young Justice. He is reborn as Rick Sanchez. What chaos will he create inside of DC? Will he be good? Or will he stay an anti-hero? Or worse, does he become evil?
Made by Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe and hype video. Become channel member for early access. This fanfic cannot be found elsewhere on the internet. Batman stayed near the console. Robin sidled closer to me while they were distracted. That went better than I expected. Yeah, I said. Verb. Nobody melted. Always a win. He glanced at the screen showing the lattice. What about the probe? Did you tell them? They'll get the log, I said. Verb. But I'm keeping the raw analysis. Darkseid poking my fence is my problem as much as theirs. He nodded, understanding. Makes sense. Batman turned back to me. Anything else you want to tell us about the probe? I shrugged. Verb. It touched the shield, got knocked off, and left a nice data trail. He's curious. That's all. Batman's eyes narrowed slightly. And, I said, Verb. Next time he throws something at us, the lattice will handle it better. That's the point. He held my gaze for a few seconds, then accepted that answer with a short nod. Keep me informed. Yeah, I said. Verb. Don't worry. If something big enough to scare me hits the shield, you'll hear the alarm before I do. He moved off to another station. I stepped away from the console, heading back toward the Zeta pad. Robin walked beside me. I like it here less every time, I said quietly. Verb. Too many capes. Not enough lab benches. He smiled faintly. At least they're starting to see you as, not just a threat. I'm still a threat, I said. Verb. I just happen to be on their side right now. We stepped into the tube. Recognized, Rick Sanchez. B06. Robin. B01. Light, then the mountain's familiar air again. Back in the lab, the hologram of Earth still rotated, the thin shield band pulsing calmly. I felt the tension leave my shoulders little by little. Right, I said, sitting down heavily in my chair. Verb. Status report. Lattice stable, Rai replied. Zeta channels clear. Magical path tests archived. One apocalypse probe deflected. No further contacts detected. Good, I said. Verb. Keep the field at 15 in active sectors only. No automatic expansion without my manual approval. Understood, Rai said. The lab hummed around me. For a brief moment, it almost felt quiet. I picked up a tool and reached for the next unfinished device. The shield would hold. Or, if it didn't, I'd make it. Same as always. Chapter 12, tagging the tyrant's toys. Rai woke me up with one word. Contact. I opened one eye, still half asleep in my lab chair. My neck ached from the angle. The empty flask on the table told me exactly how long I'd been out. I rubbed my face and sat up slowly. You got real selective timing, Rai. Verb. Talk. Lattice contact at upper boundary, Rai said calmly. Signature matches previous apocalypse probe class within a 2% margin of error. That brought me fully awake. I swung my legs off the table and stood. The main display was already lit, the globe hovering in the air with the lattice drawn as a thin, spinning band. On one arc, a tiny yellow point blinked inside a small red outline. There it was. Another tap on the fence. I stepped closer, eyes narrowing a little. Replay the moment of entry. The display zoomed in. The point appeared from deep space, riding a thin warp ripple. As it reached the edge of the shield, the band brightened and began to react, just like last time. Except this time, I wasn't going to let it be just a bounce. "All right," I said quietly. Verb. "Time to do this my way." Rai responded without prompting. "Tracer package is online and synced with outer lattice nodes. Awaiting authorization." I smirked. "Good. Verb. Send it." A second layer appeared across the shield, faint orange nodes embedded inside the blue band at precise points. They were tiny, almost invisible, piggybacked onto the existing field frequency. Anyone else looking at the readings would see them as minor fluctuations. The probe touched the shield. The lattice did what it was built to do. It spread the impact, stretched the energy, redirected the incoming warp. But this time, as the probe's signature smeared across the band, a needle-thin orange thread flicked out from one of my tracer nodes and latched onto it. "Tracer attached," Rai confirmed. "Signal integrity low but stable." On the display, the probe icon jerked sideways and spun out into space again, deflected. But now there was a faint second line running behind it. Not visible to anything except my systems. I watched the data scroll and felt a low, solid satisfaction settle in my chest. "Talk to me," I said. Verb. "What's the link look like?" "Dimensional tracer locked to probe's residual warp stream," Rai said. "Signal strength is weak due to distance and interference, but it persists." "Good enough," I said. Verb. "Start extended backtracking." "Slow. Passive only. I don't want Darkseid's sensors feeling me tugging on his line." "Acknowledged," Rai replied. "Building a composite path from accumulated tracer data will take time." "I've got time," I said. Verb. "And he doesn't get to know I'm following his toys home." The tracer drew a barely visible thread out past the edge of the solar system. It stopped before any clear destination. That was fine. One probe only gave 1 point. I needed more. And I'd get them. Rai added, "The League will receive a notification about the deflection event in 60 seconds. Without tracer details, as you specified." "Perfect," I said. Verb. "They see the bounce, they sleep better. We keep the rest." My stomach growled. I frowned at it like it had personally offended me, then reached blindly for a half-crushed protein bar on the end of the bench. It tasted like chalk and disappointment, but it shut the noise up. The door slid open. "Rick." Robin's voice came from the hallway before he stepped inside. "You awake?" "Barely," I said, chewing. Verb. "You kids ever heard of knocking?" He glanced reflexively at the door panel. It slid. "Then slide your hand against it a few times first," I said dryly. Verb. "What do you want?" He stepped fully into the lab, the glow from the displays reflecting off his mask. His posture was alert, but there was something careful in the way he held himself. Like he was trying not to step on a landmine. "I saw the alert," he said. "Another probe?" "Yeah," I said. Verb. "It touched the shield. Got tossed. Same as last time, just prettier on my end." He looked at the globe, then at the scrolling log. "You did something different." I gave him a sideways look. "Smart kid." "Yeah," I said. Verb. "I stuck a tracer on it." "Like a tracking bug?" he asked, stepping closer to the display. "More like a dimensional splinter jammed into its warp trail," I said. Verb. "But sure, tracking bug for the non-nerds." I tapped the faint line reaching into space. "Every time one of those probes touches my lattice, it drags back a little more information about where it came from." His eyes followed the thread. You're trying to find apocalypse. Trying to find its general ballpark, I corrected. Verb. I'm not gonna get street level directions. But if I know which chunk of infinite space he's sitting in, that's already more than anyone else has. He watched the path for a second, then glanced at me. League know about the tracer? Nope, I said easily. Verb. They know we're deflecting. They don't know we're hitching rides on his toys. If I told them, this would turn into 50 meetings and 1,000 ethical debates. I don't have time for that. Robin shifted his weight a little. You're not worried they'll find out? If they do, I said, I'll explain that I'm smart and they're slow. Verb. Not the first time that speech'll happen. He held back a smirk. I saw it anyway. For a moment, he just stood there watching the tracer line ripple faintly. Then he cleared his throat. There's something else, he said. I rolled my eyes a little. There's always something else. Verb. Spit it out. He looked me straight in the eyes. I want to learn. I raised an eyebrow. You already know how to brood, dodge, and hack basic systems. You're doing fine. I want to learn your tech, he said firmly. Your systems. Your drones. The shield. Right. All of it. Or at least as much as you'll let me. I stared at him for a long moment. He didn't look away. My first instinct was to say no. Too much hassle. Too much risk. Too much babysitting. But he wasn't just some random sidekick. He was Robin. Young, yeah, but not stupid. And he was already poking around the edge of my work every chance he got. Why? I asked finally. And don't give me some speech about saving the world. Verb. That's the League's job. He didn't flinch. Because we keep getting hit with things we don't understand. We're chasing threats that are bigger, faster, smarter. You're ahead of that. You see them coming. You build for them before they show up. I don't want to always be playing catch-up. There was no drama in his voice. Just simple fact. It sat well with me. I looked away and scratched my cheek. You know Batman's not gonna like this. He doesn't have to know everything, Robin said quietly. I snorted. Verb. Big words for the loyal sidekick. He crossed his arms, annoyed but steady. He trusts me in the field. He trusts me with missions. He doesn't need a detailed log of who I ask for help learning trigonometry 2.0. I thought about that for a second. It was technically true. And I respected anyone willing to use the gray areas. All right, I said finally. Verb. Ground rules. His shoulders straightened instantly. I held up a finger. 1. You don't touch anything in here unless I tell you to. I mean it. If you poke the wrong node, this lab becomes a very bright crater. He nodded. Got it. 2. I continued, you don't repeat what I teach you to anyone else. Not your team, not the League, not your broody bat dad. If they want lessons, they can come ask me and get their own rules. That might be difficult, he admitted. Then don't ask to learn, I said flatly. Verb. I'm not doing group tutoring. I'll give you tools. What you do with them is on you. But you don't write a report titled Rick's Tech for Beginners. He hesitated, then nodded again. Okay. I raised a third finger. 3. If I say something is on a need-to-know basis, you don't go digging around it. I catch you trying to hack reroute my drones, or peek at the tracer routines I don't show you, we're done. You don't get any toys. That one landed. He winced slightly but didn't back down. I'm not a kid who can't follow instructions. You are a kid who loves sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, I said bluntly. Verb. That's why you're good. It's also why you're dangerous in a lab. You break any of these three, you're out. He took a slow breath. I can accept that. I watched him for another few seconds. He meant it. He was still going to test the edges, because it was in his nature, but he'd test them with some respect. That was enough. Fine, I said. Verb. Congratulations. You're now my unpaid, uncredited, underqualified assistant. He actually smiled. Seriously? Don't make me repeat myself, I grumbled. Verb. You want in, you start small. No shield control, no portal systems, no AI core. You're on drone diagnostics. He blinked. Just, diagnostics. For now, I said. Verb. You succeed there, we move you up. You fail, you go back to throwing birdarangs at muggers. He smirked slightly at that. I can handle diagnostics. We'll see, I said. Verb. Come on. I walked to the far side of the lab where I'd set up a secondary console. Several smaller screens were lit with drone status feeds, position logs, battery levels, sensor reports, error alerts. Rows of tiny icons tracked dozens of units across orbit and beyond. Robin followed, eyes taking in everything. If you're going to be useful, I said, you start by understanding the nervous system. The drones keep the lattice alive. They tell me when something's wrong before it becomes a crater. He nodded slowly. So, what's the job? I tapped a set of columns. See these errors? Minor calibration drift. Atmospheric drag. Microparticle impacts. Verb. Nothing fatal yet, but they add up. You're going to help me write correction patterns that I can apply automatically. He frowned thoughtfully. That's a lot of data. Yeah, I said. Verb. Welcome to the big leagues. You're good with patterns. Use that. You're not just running code, you're learning how the network behaves. He slid into the chair in front of the console. Fingers hovered over the panel, ready but not touching. Where do I start? He asked. Box a subset for him, I said. Verb. 10 drones. Mixed orbits. Give him a clean range to play in. Subset defined, Rai said. Marking drones Alpha 21 through Alpha 30 for manual review. On the screen, 10 icons lit up slightly brighter than the rest. Robin exhaled slowly. All right. Let's do this. He began pulling up individual drone logs. His eyes scanned the numbers quickly, focusing in on the anomalies. I watched from behind him, arms crossed. He was fast. He caught patterns where someone else would skim. One drone had a recurring sensor glitch every time it crossed a certain radiation band. Another drifted slightly off its assigned orbit at predictable intervals. Another reported meaningless spikes that turned out to match micrometeor showers. I didn't say much. I watched. Every so often, I nudged him in the right direction. Don't focus on that one, I said once. Verb. That's noise. Look at the timestamps. He scrolled back, noticed the rhythm, and nodded. It matches the storm cycle in that sector. Exactly, I said. Verb. So you don't try to fix it. You teach the system to ignore it. He altered the correction script, installing a filter instead of a reconfiguration. Smart. After about 40 minutes, he sat back and rubbed his eyes. That is, a lot. Yeah, I agreed. Verb. This isn't gliding through a city. It's babysitting an entire sky. He looked up at the main globe, now with slightly smoothed arcs where his drones flew. What happens if one of them fails completely? Depends where, I said. Verb. If it's in a safe sector, the lattice flexes and shifts the load to others. If it's in a hot zone near something like that apocalyptic residue, we get a weak spot. That's why we fix the little problems now. He nodded slowly. Got it. I checked his work again. No obvious mistakes. No lazy shortcuts. I felt a small flicker of approval I did not say out loud. Not bad, I said instead. Verb. You're not hopeless. He smiled slightly at that. For him, it was probably a full parade. Rai chimed in. Rick. New lattice contact detected. We both looked at the globe. Another red outline. Another tiny point drifting in. Robin leaned forward. Another probe. Check the signature, I said. Verb. Rai did. Energy pattern matches previous apocalyptic probe with a 5% variance. Confidence level, high. I smiled slowly. Looks like our friend liked the last one enough to send another. Robin looked from the point to me. Can you tag this one too? Already ready for it, I said. Verb. Tracer networks live. We'll get a second thread. With enough hits, we take all those lines and start narrowing down a region. The probe reached the shield. The band reacted. The tracer flicked out again, this time thicker, riding along multiple nodes. The icon bounced off and went tumbling away into the dark. The tracer line extended outwards alongside its path, faint but steady. Rai processed for a moment. Tracer lock stable. Combined with previous data, I can refine the estimated origin cone by 23%. The vague cone of space on the map tightened a little. It was still huge, but less huge. Robin watched it with clear interest. You're building a trail from nothing. Welcome to real science, I said. Verb. You don't always get a big red X on a map. Sometimes you get a vague arrow and the satisfaction that you are less blind than yesterday. His mouth twitched upward. I can get used to this. Good, I said. Verb. Because if you stick around, you're going to be neck deep in this mess. He hesitated. Batman really won't like this part. Then don't tell him, I said simply. Verb. Not yet. Robin looked at the tracer, at the shield, at the drones he'd just helped tune. I won't, he said quietly. I clapped a hand lightly on his shoulder once. Good. Verb. Class dismissed for today. Go pretend to be a normal sidekick for a while. Come back tomorrow and we'll see if you remember any of this. He stood, straightened a little, and nodded. Thanks. For trusting me with this. Don't make me regret it, I said, turning back to the console. Verb. That's all. He left the lab, the door sliding shut behind him. The room was quiet again. Just me, Rai, the hum, and the globe. Rai, I said. Log Robin's access with a private tag. No automatic sharing to leaked channels. Logged, Rai replied. And keep watching for more probes, I added. Verb. Every time he taps my shield, we get smarter. Understood, Rai said. Tracer systems on standby. I sat down, stretched my back, and stared at the faint threads reaching out into space. I didn't care about revenge. I cared about information. And little by little, this universe was getting less unknown. Good. Chapter 13, Dead Drone in Orbit. I was in the middle of reinstalling a focusing crystal in the shield core when Rai cut in. Rick. One of the lattice drones has gone offline. I did not like the sound of that. I set the crystal down carefully. Define offline, Rai. Verb. Out of range, damaged, or actually dead. Total shutdown, Rai said calmly. Drone Alpha 24. Loss of signal was instantaneous. No prior error warnings. No collision data. Location, low outer orbit, just beyond the inner edge of the lattice. I walked over to the hologram. Earth spun in the air, shield band glowing faintly. A small icon near the outer curve flickered gray. Alpha 24. Show last 30 seconds of its log, I said. Verb. Full sensor feed. Data rolled across a side screen. Everything was normal. Stable power. Stable orbit. Then nothing. No spike. No hit. No warning. Just a flat line. I narrowed my eyes slightly. Yeah, that's not normal. Rai added, secondary note, Alpha 24 is one of the drones recently recalibrated by Robin under your supervision. I let out a quiet breath through my nose. Of course it is. Verb. Great. Now I have to check if this is a cosmic problem or a babysitting problem. Still, my first reaction wasn't anger. It was curiosity. Sudden clean shutdowns in space meant something had reached out and flipped a switch. I wanted to know what. Any sign of apocalypse signature near the last position? I asked. Negative, Rai replied. No recorded external energy fields. Shield lattice in that region is stable. No known interference in the last hour. So nothing obvious. Which made it more interesting. All right, I said. Verb. Mark Alpha 24's orbit as priority inspection. We're going up there. Up there. Rai repeated. Physical inspection is not strictly necessary. It is if someone's poking my drones in ways your sensors can't see, I said. Verb. I want eyes on the hardware. The lab door slid open quietly. Robin stepped in, tablet in hand. He looked at the main display, then at me. Rai said you flagged Alpha 24. Yeah, I said, not looking away from the globe. Verb. Your little pet drone went dark. Cleanly. No warning. His jaw tightened briefly. You think I messed up? I think it's a coincidence until I prove otherwise, I said. Verb. Calm down. If it's your fault, I'll mock you for a week. If it's not, we learn something important. He exhaled slowly. What do you need me to do? I turned to him. Suit up. We're going to space. He blinked once. Seriously? Yeah, I've been putting off field trips, I said. Verb. Time to stretch our legs. We'll take Miss Martian's bioship. Easier than hijacking a league shuttle. He hesitated just a second, then nodded quickly. I'll let the others know. Not all of them, I said, pointing at him. Verb. Tell Miss M we're doing hardware maintenance. Tell Aqualad because he'll find out anyway. That's it. No full team heroic charge. This is a tech job, not a shared trauma experience. He almost smiled at that. Got it. He left. I grabbed a compact kit from a side cabinet, tools, portable scanner, a few emergency field chips, and a small shimmering disk I'd been saving. Rai, I said, tossing the kit into my open coat. Verb. Lock Alpha 24's orbit in. Don't let it drift. Nudge it if you have to. Microthruster ping sent to nearby drones, Rai said. They will maintain its relative position. Good, I said. Verb. Keep watching. I headed for the hangar. By the time I got there, Miss Martian was already floating beside the bioship in its usual berth. Aqualad stood near the base of the ramp, arms crossed but relaxed. Robin was just coming down from the upper level, pulling on his mask. Miss Martian smiled a little when she saw me. Robin said you needed the bioship for a maintenance mission. Yeah, I said. Verb. One of my drones decided to take a nap in orbit. I want to poke it manually. We'll be in and out. No fireworks, no gods, no punching. Kid Flash's voice sounded from a corner as he jogged in. Wait, you're going to space? Again? And you didn't call me? You sprint on air now? I asked, unimpressed. Verb. I'll bring you next time there's a treadmill installed on the moon. He groaned dramatically. You're killing me here, Rick. Not yet, I said. Verb. Stay home, Wally. We need Robin, Miss MS Ride, and my brain. That's it. Aqualad nodded slowly. I will remain here as well and monitor your progress. If anything happens, we can alert the League. Sure, I said. Verb. If things go wrong enough that I need the League, you'll know because the sky'll be the wrong color. Miss Martian glanced between us. Is it safe? As safe as orbit ever is, I said. Verb. I've got personal shielding, I'll wrap a field around Robin, and your ship can handle the rest. Let's go. She nodded, and the bioship opened with its usual smooth, organic motion. We boarded, me in the back, Robin beside me, Miss Martian at the front interface. Bioship, she said gently, touching the controls. We're going to low orbit. Coordinates incoming. Right, send them, I said, tapping my wrist. The ship pulsed once as it received the data. We lifted off quietly through the hangar roof and shot up through the atmosphere. The acceleration barely registered on me, I'd been in worse. Robin pressed a hand against one of the view panels, staring as the blue of the sky deepened, darkened, and then snapped into the black of space. He didn't say anything. I caught the small flicker in his eyes anyway. He was excited. The Earth curved beneath us, shield band invisible from here but present in my displays. The bioship approached the marked point in orbit. Slowing, Miss Martian said. We're at the coordinates. The ship stopped relative to the planet. Out ahead, floating alone, was Alpha 24, a small, round unit, dark and motionless. No status lights. No emissions. Dead. Robin glanced at my wrist display. Looks like it just froze. Yeah, I said quietly. Verb. Let's go say hi. Miss Martian looked back. You're going out there? Yep, I said. Verb. That's the job. I stood up and tapped a control on my belt. A faint shimmering field wrapped around me in a tight aura. Personal atmosphere, temperature control, inertia damping, all the basic space survival settings I needed. I pulled a small module from my coat and tossed it at Robin. He caught it, startled. What's this? Temporary field generator, I said. Verb. Stick it to your chest. Double tap. Don't take it off until we're back inside. He pressed it against his tunic and tapped twice. A similar shimmer wrapped around him. His eyes darted around automatically. There's no airlock, he pointed out. I aimed the portal gun at an open section of space in front of the bioship. We don't need one. A green portal flared open, matching the bioship's movement. On the other side was Alpha 24, closer now, stabilized by rise nearby units. I stepped through, boots hitting nothing but still having footing because of the portal's anchored field. Robin followed, slightly stiff at the lack of gravity. He looked down by reflex, then let out a slow breath when he saw Earth turning under us. This is, wow. Don't get sentimental, I said. Verb. You'll fog up your field. We drifted the last few meters to the drone. Up close, it looked normal. No scorch marks. No cracks. No impact scars. Rai, confirm power reading, I said. 0, Rai said in my ear. No active circuits. Backup reserve cells are also drained. I frowned. Drained? That's new. Robin braced himself gently on the drone's underside. His movements were careful, controlled. No structural damage. It's clean. Yeah, I said. Verb. That's what I don't like. I opened my kit and pulled out a thin, flat tool. I pressed it against a seam and twisted. The drone's top shell popped up slightly. I slid it off, exposing the internal core and processor cluster. Everything was dark. No char marks, no melted circuits. Just, inert. Robin peered in beside me. Can something in space drain power like that? Not like this, I said. Verb. Radiation fries. Collisions break. This is more like someone reached in and finished the battery. I pressed another tool to the core. Normally that would give me a residual reading. All I got was a faint, strange static on the edge of the scale. I stared at it a little longer than usual. Robin watched me. You recognize that? Not completely, I said. Verb. But I don't like it. It's not apocalyptian. It's not human. It's something else, and that annoys me. He looked back toward the emptiness of space. Do you think someone did this on purpose? I don't think vacuum has a sense of humor, I said. Verb. Someone touched this. Could be a random pass-by. Could be a probe of a probe. We're not going to know without more data. He nodded slowly. So what now? Now, I said, reaching into the drone's guts, we rig it. I pulled the small shimmering disc from my kit and pressed it against the core housing. It sank in, merging with the metal, leaving only a faint glow inside. What was that? Robin asked. Layered tracer and monitor, I said. Verb. If whoever touched this wants to touch it again, they'll be touching me. I grabbed a compact power cell from the kit, slotted it into a junction, and watched as the core flickered back to life with the smallest blue light. Rai, ping Alpha 24, I said. Signal restored, Rai answered. Systems in low power mode. Awaiting commands. Good, I said. Verb. Bring it back into the rotation, but flag it with the highest alert level. Anything weird happens near it, I want a full recording. Done, Rai said. I replaced the shell, locked it in place, and gave the drone a light tap. It hummed softly and began drifting into a controlled position with the others. Robin watched it go. If it gets hit again, we'll know more, I said. Verb. And then I'll have another piece of whatever puzzle thinks it's cosmic enough to mess with my hardware. We stepped back through the portal into the bioship. Miss Martian glanced back, eyes curious. Was it damaged? Not physically, I said, dropping back into my seat. Verb. Something drained it. I patched it. We'll watch it. She nodded, reassured by the simple answer. Robin sat down quietly, staring at the front view where the curve of the Earth filled half the panel. Ship, take us home, Miss Martian said. The bioship turned smoothly and started descending. Atmosphere lit the outside briefly before the heat shield systems compensated. Soon blue replaced black, then cloud, then the ocean and the familiar coastline. Back in the mountain, Aqualad met us as we disembarked. How did it go? He asked. Drones back online, I said. Verb. Someone drained it like they were sipping it through a straw. Nothing exploded. Count it as a quiet success. He gave a short nod. Good. Kid Flash popped his head out from behind a crate. You missed a whole argument on the news about the shield. People are still trying to figure out if they should be grateful or paranoid. They can do both, I said. Verb. It's healthy. Miss Martian smiled a little and drifted away with Kid Flash, talking softly. Aqualad followed them after a moment, leaving just me and Robin in the hangar. He glanced at me. Thanks for taking me up. Don't get used to it, I said. Verb. Space is for work, not sightseeing. He smirked. Still. It was good to see how it works up close. Yeah, well, don't screw up your next homework, I said. Verb. Go grab some food. I've got logs to analyze. He nodded and headed for the hallway. I went back to the lab. Rai immediately pulled up Alpha 24's new feed. It was running at partial power, drifting back into its assigned place in the lattice. The tracer pulsed faintly inside the shell. Keep a constant watch, I said. Verb. Full resolution logging. Already active, Rai said. I was halfway through comparing the residual energy from the shutdown with known databases when the lab door opened without warning. Again. Only this time it wasn't Robin. Batman stepped inside. He didn't slam the door or stalk. He just walked in quietly, like he belonged there, cape barely moving. I didn't look surprised. You know, for a guy who loves stealth, you really don't like knocking. Verb. He glanced at the globe, then at the side console where Robin's work was still saved. Robin has been spending a lot of time in this lab. I smirked. You jealous? Verb. You want me to build you a console? He ignored that. What are you teaching him, Rick? I wiped my hands off on a cloth, more from habit than need. Drone diagnostics. Network maintenance. Basic lattice behavior. Verb. You know, the things that keep your planet from getting surprise ported into a black hole. His eyes narrowed. You are giving a teenager access to a global defense system. I'm giving the only tech-competent teenager on your junior team a crash course in how not to break it, I corrected. Verb. Rai, show access levels. A secondary display popped up with a clean chart. Rai's voice came right after. Robin's permissions, limited to drone maintenance in sectors designated non-critical by Rick. No access to core shield controls, tracer systems, or AI root functions. Batman scanned the chart. He can alter orbital hardware. He can help me keep them tuned so they don't drift into each other, I said. Verb. Stop acting like I handed him the nuclear codes. I didn't. Batman looked at me for several seconds. I know Robin. He is curious. Persistent. He pushes boundaries. Yeah, I noticed, I said. Verb. That's why I put very clear lines on what he can and can't touch. You trust him? He asked. I shrugged. Verb. I trust that he listens when something is serious enough. I trust that he wants to keep people alive more than he wants to impress you. And I trust that if he was dumb enough to try hacking my core, Rai would knock him on his ass before I had to. Rai chimed in helpfully. Security subroutines are designed to repel unauthorized access with non-lethal countermeasures. Batman's mouth thinned slightly. Define non-lethal. Annoying, I said. Verb. Painful. Memorable. Nothing permanent. I'm not cooking your sidekick. He wasn't satisfied. That was obvious. But he also wasn't storming out. He shifted topics slightly. He went to orbit with you today, Batman said. Yep, I said. Verb. Rai tattled. Rai logged a bioship departure and a portal opening in space, Batman said. And Robin's COMM signal went off-world for 20 minutes. So you checked, I said. Verb. Of course you did. He folded his arms. Why take him? One of the drones he tuned went dark, I said openly. Verb. I wanted to see it in person. I also wanted him to see what maintaining this system actually means. It's not just numbers. It's physical hardware, dangerous locations, and unknown variables. Batman watched me closely. Unknown variables like what? Like something draining a drone's power from the inside without leaving a mark, I said. Verb. It wasn't apocalyption, and it wasn't a natural problem. I tagged it, brought it back, and now I'm watching it. His eyes flicked to the display tracking Alpha 24. You suspect a new threat? I suspect this universe has more than one jerk with fancy toys, I said. Verb. I'm not calling you for every weird reading I get. You'd never sleep. He didn't argue that part. Robin is still under my responsibility, he said. If you involve him in higher level work, I want to know how far it goes. You want a contract, I said. Verb. Promise not to turn my sidekick into a walking weapon. That it? Yes, he said simply. I tilted my head, considering him. Fine. You want clear terms? You get them. I won't teach him how to build weapons. I won't give him direct access to Rai's core. I won't let him touch the main shield controls or any interdimensional systems. What he gets is maintenance, diagnostics, and pattern analysis. I gestured at the drone console. All of that makes your world safer without making him more dangerous. Batman held my gaze. And the parts you do not show him. Those stay mine, I said. Verb. You don't need to know every secret I keep to benefit from the ones I share. He was silent for a while. The lab hummed softly around us. Finally he said, if he breaks your rules, I expect you to tell me. If he breaks my rules, I said, Burp. I'll deal with it. If he does something so stupid it endangers the entire system, yeah, I'll loop you in. But so far, he's done good work. Better than half your scientists, frankly. Batman glanced once more at the console logs. I'll speak to him. About what? I asked, already knowing. About remembering the difference between learning and overreaching, he said. About what he's getting into. You do that, I said. Verb. Just don't scare him out of it. He's useful. Batman turned toward the door, cape shifting slightly. The moment this becomes a risk to the planet, we shut it down. If we reach that point, I said, it's because you didn't listen to me about something else first. Verb. He paused, then left without another word. A few minutes later, Robin slipped in. His steps were quieter than Batman's but not enough to fool me. You get the lecture? I asked, not turning around. Yeah, he said with a small sigh, walking up beside me. He asked what you were teaching me. And you said? I asked. Verb. Don't lie to me. The truth, he said. Diagnostics. Drones. Maintenance. I didn't mention the tracer stuff. Or the more specific shield behaviors. Or orbit trips until he brought them up. I nodded once. He mad? He's cautious, Robin said. But he didn't forbid me from coming back. Yet. That's because even he knows he needs this, I said. Verb. You did fine. Ground rules still stand. You don't tell him more, I don't tell him more, and nobody gets hurt. He let out a small breath of relief. Okay. I checked Alpha 24's feed again. Still stable. The tracer pulsed quietly. All right, I said, pointing at the drone console. Verb. You're not fired. Sit down. We've got more orbits to smooth. He pulled the chair back and sat, a small determined look settling over his face as he pulled up the next batch of logs. I watched him work for a moment, then turned my attention back to the shield, the lattice, and the faint threads reaching out into a very crowded universe. If anyone else reached in, we'd be ready. Or at least, we'd be less surprised. Chapter 14, The Tier Above the World. Alpha 24 pinged me at 3 in the morning. I wasn't asleep this time. I was at my bench, goggles on, taking apart a gravity modulator that had decided to hum at the wrong frequency. The mountain was mostly quiet. The team was in their rooms, the league was doing whatever the league did at this hour, and Rai was running background sweeps. Then the tone changed. Rick, Rai said. Alpha 24 has registered an internal power fluctuation. I pushed the goggles up onto my forehead. Internal how? Verb. Routine or fun kind? Fun kind, Rai said. Power drain event. Duration, 1.4 seconds. Origin, internal core. No external collision or radiation spike recorded. I straightened and walked to the main display. Show me. The hologram shifted to focus on a magnified version of Alpha 24's guts, a live schematic built from internal sensors. Power levels were steady, a clean line, until a sudden drop hit the main cell and back up simultaneously. They plunged down, then bounced back as the tracer power cell picked up the slack. Verb. There it is, I muttered. That is not environmental. Rai continued, energy siphon pattern does not match apocalyption signatures. No boom tube residue, no matching warp frequency. Cross-referencing against League and known extraterrestrial databases, no direct match found. I felt a small spark of satisfaction. Annoyed satisfaction, but still. So it wasn't Darkseid. Or at least not one of his standard party favors. Correct, Rai said. Tracer still intact? I asked. Yes, Rai answered. The monitoring node you embedded remained operational. It captured partial energy profile of the drain. Bring it up, I said. Verb. Full resolution. The display filled with a waveform and several overlapping graphs. The drain curve was tight and surgical, no chaotic spikes, no messy bleed. Whatever did it knew exactly how much to take without physically breaking the drone. A little too precise. I chewed the inside of my cheek for a second. You see that rhythm? I asked. Yes, Rai said. Drain curve shows a deliberate ramp in and ramp out. It is not natural. Yeah, I said. Verb. Someone reached in and sampled my drone like it was on a tasting menu. I zoomed in further. There was a faint secondary line under the main drain, like a shadow of the energy. That, I said, tapping it, is new. Follow it. A projected path appeared in the air. Unlike the apocalyption warp vectors, which pushed outward into deep space, this one curved upward and then slipped sideways, half into the lattice band itself. Verb. They used the shield field as a routing medium, I said quietly. Rai, confirm. Path suggests a partial CO option of the lattice frequency, Rai replied. The unknown source dipped into the shield's harmonics briefly before disconnecting. It did not alter the structure, only wrote it. I did not like that at all. So someone out there figured out my network is a very nice, very subtle circuit to hitch a ride on, I said. Verb. Great. Fantastic. Love it. The lab door opened. Rick. It was Miss Martian's voice this time, soft and careful. Are you busy? I didn't turn around immediately. I'm always busy, Gan. Verb. Question is this important enough to interrupt? Her footsteps were light as she floated in, stopping a few steps behind me. Batman asked me to check in on you. And Robin. During your sessions. Sessions. I repeated, finally turning. What? He think I opened a therapy office. She looked a little uncertain but not scared. He asked if I could keep an eye on your thoughts. Just to make sure you weren't pushing Robin into anything dangerous. I stared at her for a second, then snorted. Verb. Of course he did. He want a telepathic babysitter report. She flinched a little at the word, then gathered herself. I didn't say yes. Not fully. I told him I would check. But I'm not going to spy on you. That got a slight twitch at the corner of my mouth. You already kinda are, I said. Verb. You're here, asking. She floated down a little, hands wringing together briefly before she stilled them. I just wanted to understand. When you and Robin work together, it feels like the air around the lab changes. Focused. Heavy. Not dangerous. Just intense. I sighed and rubbed the back of my neck. Look. Verb. I'm not corrupting your team mascot. I'm teaching him how to keep my drones from kissing each other in orbit. You want to know what we're doing? Watch from inside the room, not from inside my head. Her eyes widened. You're okay with that? Within limits, I said. Verb. You stay outside my brain. You stay outside Rye. You can sit in a corner and feel all the vibes you want. If I catch you reaching past that, we're done. She smiled a little. That's fair. I pointed at the display. Since you're here, you might as well see what real problems look like. She drifted closer, eyes focusing on the schematic. Is that one of the drones? Alpha 24, I said. Verb. Our problem child. Something just tried to drink it again. Not Darkside this time. Not anyone I have on file. Her brows drew together. Is that bad? It's annoying, I said. Verb. Bad comes later, if I ignore it. She glanced between me and the screen. Do you think Robin should see this too? Yes, I said immediately. Verb. He's working on diagnostics. This is a live case. I can get him, she offered. Go ahead, I said. Verb. Tell him the fun kind of problem came in. She phased out through the wall rather than using the door. I shook my head a little and turned back to the display. Right, I said. Start building a separate category for this unknown energy pattern. Label it UA1. Track any similar drain curves from now on. Logged, Rai said. UA1 profile created. I was sketching a quick model of the path it had taken through the lattice when Robin jogged in, Miss Martian right behind him. You got a hit? He asked, slightly out of breath. Alpha 24 got kissed again, I said. Verb. This time we caught it. He moved next to me automatically. Miss Martian hovered a bit farther back, near one of the side consoles, eyes half focused like she was paying attention to more than just sight and sound. I ignored the subtle way she probed the room. She wasn't reaching into my head. She was just listening hard. That was fine. Robin leaned toward the display. It dropped, here. But then bounced back up on your tracer. Exactly, I said. Verb. Someone poked it, drained it, then used the lattice for a split second as a bridge. Not to Apocalypse. Somewhere else. He frowned. Can we follow it like the probes? Not cleanly, I said. Verb. It dipped in and out too fast. All I got is this pattern. But now I can scan for it. That's something. Miss Martian spoke up gently. When you talk about it, your mind feels sharp. Like a knife on one thing. It's not chaotic. I glanced sideways at her. You can feel that without swimming in my brain. She nodded. Surface impressions. Not thoughts. Just tone. Emotion. You're not excited. You're focused. A little annoyed. That's how you know I care, I said. Verb. Robin almost laughed under his breath. I was about to push deeper into the energy comparison when Rai's tone changed again. This time sharper. Rick. Lattice spike detected. I turned fully to the globe. The shield band around Earth pulsed, one small section near the mid-latitudes lighting brighter than the rest. Location? I asked. Verb. Sector C9, Rai said. Over a coastal city. Energy density suddenly increased by 300% without a corresponding external source. Robin's fingers flew over his tablet. That's Bloodhaven. Of course it is, I muttered. Verb. Always the fun city. Miss Martian stiffened. I feel something. Like a shiver. In space. Above it. Rai continued, dimensional stress forming just above the atmosphere. Pattern does not match previous apocalyptic incursions or Metropolis incident. So not dark side again, I said. Verb. Great. New house guest. Robin looked up. Is it another breach? Small, I said, zooming in. The hologram showed a tiny distortion forming just above the shield band. Space around that point wavered. Local tier. If it grows, the lattice will have to push back harder. That's when we get problems. Miss Martian floated closer to the main display, eyes unfocused as she reached out with her senses. It feels thin. Like something is stretching, trying to open. I snapped my fingers once. Good. Verb. You, stay tuned into that. Robin, get over here. He moved to the console without hesitation. I brought up the control interface for that section of the shield. A grid of nodes appeared, each one a drone or anchor point contributing to the field. This is live, I said. Verb. No simulations. You mess up, we get a hole. He nodded, jaw set. The tier is forming along this line, I said, highlighting a curve. The lattice there is too stiff. It's reacting like a solid wall. We don't want that. We want it to behave like a net. How do we change that? He asked. By redistributing the tension, I said. Verb. Rai, give him manual soft control of nodes delta 12 through delta 19. Advisory mode only. Control granted, Rai replied. Robin, your adjustments will be constrained within set safety parameters. Robin's gloves hovered over the keys. What do? I tapped a rhythm along the path. Lower output here, here, and here by 3%. Raise it at the flanks. Think of it like easing the pressure around a wound instead of pressing straight down on it. He followed the pattern, fingers moving quickly but carefully. The hologram showed the band loosening in the center while strengthening at the edges. The tier pulse slowed. Good, I said. Verb. Now we have to give it somewhere to go. Miss Martian's voice came quietly. The feeling is changing. It's less like tearing, more like sliding. Searching. I nodded. That's because we're redirecting it instead of fighting it. Rai, prepare localized micro-anchor at the tier's center. I'm going to give it a fake door to knock on. Ready, Rai said. On the display, a small virtual point lit up just above the tier location. Robin watched, focused. "You're luring it." "More like pointing it at a target," I said. Verb. "When I say, you'll tighten the outer ring by 2%. That'll push the stress line toward the anchor." He nodded again. "Got it." I watched the numbers for 3 beats, then said, "Now." He executed the command. The outer ring brightened. The tier wavered, then nudged toward the anchor point. The stress readings shifted with it. "Rai, engage anchor," I said. Verb. "Soft hold." "Engaging," Rai said. The tier stopped expanding and instead condensed slightly, pressed against the invisible point. It was like watching a dent get pushed into one spot instead of across a surface. Miss Martian let out a slow breath. "It's stuck. Not gone. But not spreading." "Exactly what we wanted," I said. Verb. "Give me a zoom at the center, Rai." The hologram magnified the anchor point. At the very core, a tiny flicker of not quite space danced just on the edge of visibility. That was the actual dimensional tier trying to push through. Robin breathed out. "So how do we close it?" "One step at a time," I said. Verb. "We've stopped it from growing. That buys us time. Now we need to discharge the built-up stress without ripping a bigger hole." On another panel, I started building a pulse pattern series of small, controlled fluctuations. "Watch this," I said to Robin as I worked. Verb. "The lattice isn't just a wall. It's a tool. You can use it to massage space instead of punching it." He blinked. "Massage space. Don't overthink the wording," I said. Verb. "Focus on the function." I finished the sequence and sent it. "Rai, execute pattern alpha," I said. "Low amplitude." The drones around the anchor began pulsing their output ever so slightly, in a synchronized rhythm. The tier flickered in response, its edges smoothing. Miss Martian's eyes widened a little. "I can feel it relaxing. It's calming down." "Good," I said. Verb. "We're telling reality to go back where it belongs. Give me a read on stress, Rai." "Dropping," Rai answered. "Dimensional strain reduced by 40% and falling. Tier size decreasing." Robin watched as the tiny flicker got smaller and smaller. "It's working." "Of course it's working," I said. Verb. "I don't wing this stuff." The pulse sequence ran for another 20 seconds. At the end of it, the flicker vanished completely. The readings flattened. "Stress normalized," Rai reported. "No residual tier detected. Lattice integrity stable." Miss Martian sagged a little in the air and then straightened, relieved. "It's gone. I don't feel it anymore." Robin let out a breath he'd been holding. "We just stopped a dimensional tier over Bloodhaven." "Yeah," I said. Verb. "And you helped. In real time. Put that in your mental file of things Batman doesn't need every detail on." He gave a short, stunned laugh. "I'll keep that in mind." Miss Martian looked between us, then focused on Robin more than me. "When you two work, it's very focused. There's no chaos. It's all sharp and clear. I don't think Batman has anything to worry about." I pointed at her. "You tell him that, if he asks." Verb. She smiled a little. "I will." A softer alert pinged at the edge of the console. "Rai," I said. Verb. "What now?" "Shield anomaly resolved," Rai said. "However, trace energy from the tier shares partial characteristics with UA1 profile from Alpha 24's drain." I went still for a second. "Show me the overlap." Two graphs appeared side by side, the drain curve from Alpha 24 and the stress profile from the Bloodhoven tier. They weren't identical, but there were similar shapes along parts of them. A same signature buried in different circumstances. Robin saw it too. It's the same, whoever. Or whatever. Isn't it? Looks that way, I said quietly. Verb. So our mystery energy likes sipping drones and stretching reality in coastal cities. Miss Martian frowned. This isn't dark side. No, I said. Verb. This is someone else. Or something else. Another player sniffing around. Her hands tightened slightly at her sides. Will the league know? They'll know there was a tier, I said. Verb. Rai already logged the shield event on the Watchtower's feed. But they won't see the UA1 pattern unless I tell them. Their instruments aren't tuned for this. Robin looked at me. Are you going to tell them? Not yet, I said. Verb. I don't have enough. Right now all I've got is, there's something weird poking at my system. That's not information. That's noise. Let me turn it into a shape first. He nodded slowly. Okay. Miss Martian floated a little closer. If you need me to feel for anything like that again, I can help. It was very clear. I actually gave her a small nod. That's useful. Verb. You can stay in the observation club. Just remember the rule. No digging. She raised a hand in a half-solemn gesture. I won't. Robin checked his tablet one more time, then looked at me. Did I do okay? I glanced at the stabilized lattice, then at the stress logs. No spikes. No unintended side effects. Clean work. Yeah, I said. Verb. You did fine. Didn't mess it up. You can keep the intern badge. He smiled a little. That was big, for him. Miss Martian's expression turned softer. She watched him like she was proud. Then her face changed, eyes distant for a second. Batman's checking in, she said quietly. He felt the shield alert from the watchtower. I rolled my eyes. Of course he did. Verb. Let him know the event's handled. Tell him it was a minor disturbance and the shield compensated successfully. Nothing else. She nodded. I'll tell him that. She phased out, probably going to find a private place to answer the call. Robin lingered, hands resting lightly on the console edge. He's not going to stop watching us, is he? Nope, I said. Verb. But now at least he knows you're not in here making bombs. You're in here holding the sky together. He looked at the globe again. That's not a bad job. Could be worse, I said. Verb. Could be paperwork. He huffed a tiny laugh and shook his head. I'll be back after dinner. We can look at UA1 more, if you want. You're coming back, I said. Verb. I already queued logs for you. Go eat something before you pass out on my floor. I don't have time to step over bodies. He smirked and headed toward the door. When I was alone again, I stared at the overlapping graphs. UA1. Unknown Actor 1. Whoever they were, they liked subtlety. Right, I said. Verb. From now on, any hint of this pattern gets flagged at the highest priority. Whether it's on a drone, the lattice, or some random spot above a city. Priority set, Rai replied. UA1 will be treated as a top-tier anomaly. Good, I said. Verb. If they want to play around my shield, they're going to teach me who they are first. The globe kept turning. The band stayed steady. For now. Chapter 15, Anchors in the Lattice. Rai pinged me in the middle of a calibration run. I had my hands inside the shield core, tightening a set of microscopic adjusters with a tool that cost more than the mountain, when the AI's voice cut across the steady hum. Rick. UA1 activity detected. I pulled my hands back, let the core panels close, and wiped a smear of conductive gel off my fingers onto a cloth. Give me specifics, Rai. Verb. Not a headline. UA1 signature has made direct contact with the shield, Rai said calmly. Sector F3, upper band. Duration, 4.6 seconds. Intensity higher than during the Bloodhaven incident. That got my full attention. I crossed the lab in a few steps and faced the main globe. Earth hovered in the air, the lattice band turning steadily. A small section near the southern hemisphere glowed brighter than the rest. At its edge, a point pulsed with a soft amber tone, different from the shield's blue. Replay the contact, I said. Verb. Full spectrum. The projection zoomed. The lattice in that sector was running at normal density. Then a UA1 pulse appeared from above, a soft, narrow thread of energy. It touched the band without force, just a steady, searching contact. Instead of trying to push through, it spread along the field, a thin coating of alien signal riding my own frequency. The shield responded automatically, thickening and redistributing energy. Most of the UA1 wash got pushed off. Not all of it. A single point remained. The amber point. It sank into the band and stayed there. I frowned. Pause. Verb. Magnify that residue. The view closed in on the spot. At this scale, the lattice looked like a thin, glowing layer, and the UA1 mark sat inside it as a small, irregular shape. Not big. Not spreading. Just there. Embedded. Right, I said slowly. Tell me that is not what it looks like. Analysis suggests UA1 has left behind an anchored fragment in the shield's structure, Rai replied. It is not radiating outward. It is stable. Composition unknown. I clicked my tongue once. So. Our mystery guest just screwed a tracking bolt into my fence. Verb. Great. Energy readings are low, Rai continued. No sign of internal growth or replication. The fragment is passive for now. For now, I repeated. I leaned in and studied the waveform. It was tightly coiled, with a repeating internal pattern that did not match anything I had on file. Not Apocalypse. Not Lantern Tech. Not Thanagarian, Ranyan, or any of the other usual suspects. I felt a small, sharp interest under the annoyance. This was new. New was useful. Options. I asked out loud, more to organize my thoughts than because I needed input. Rai answered anyway. You can attempt removal by forcing a localized lattice disruption. However, that may alert UA1 to your awareness of the anchor. Yeah, I said. Verb. If I smash it, they know I saw it. If I leave it, it sits in my shield and stares at me. Third option, Rai added. We can wrap the fragment in a monitoring shell and treat it as a probe of our own. I smiled a little. Now you're thinking like me. I pointed at the anchor. All right. We don't yank it. Yet. We build a cage around it. Verb. A cage they can't see. Understood, Rai said. Deploying microshell at the anchor site. On the projection, a faint secondary outline appeared around the amber mark. It unfolded in layers, each thin and precise, woven into the existing lattice so it did not add any visible change to the external band. Shell active, Rai said. Any energy movement around the fragment will be recorded at maximum resolution. Good, I said. Verb. If they try to use it as a doorbell, we'll hear the knock first. I was running a quick comparison between the anchor's pattern and the Bloodhaven tier when the lab door opened. Rick. Robin stepped in, mask already on, tablet under his arm. Rai flagged a UA1 hit. You're getting quicker, I said, not looking away from the display. Verb. Get over here. He crossed the lab and stopped beside me. His eyes went straight to the amber point. That's new. Anchor, I said. Verb. Third contact. It touched the shield and decided to leave a little piece of itself behind. That fragment is now lodged in my system. Can we take it out? He asked, immediately leaning in toward the data. Physically? Sure, I said. Verb. I can blow that whole segment and rebuild it. But then whoever did this knows I noticed. I'd rather act blind on their side and wide awake on mine. He nodded slowly. So we're letting it stay. For now, I said. Verb. Wrapped in sensors. It's a wiretap in reverse. They think they planted a camera. I just turned it into a microphone. He watched the lines scroll across the side display. No match with anything we know. Still, I said. Verb. Which means either it's far from here or very good at not being seen. He frowned slightly. Or both. Good, I said. You're getting there. I tapped the graph. See the rhythm inside the anchor? Same underlying pulse we saw in Alpha 24's drain. Same as part of the Bloodhaven tier. This is UA1's fingerprint. The more examples we get, the better our chances of figuring out what kind of hand it belongs to. Before he could answer, the intercom chimed with a different tone. Red Tornado's voice followed, neutral as always. Team, report to the mission room. Batman has requested a briefing. Presence of Rick Sanchez is also requested. I sighed. Verb. And there it is. Robin glanced at me. He wants you in the briefing too. Yeah, I said. Verb. Miss Martian already earned us that. Let's go before he sends a drone escort. We left the lab together. In the mission room, the whole team was already gathering. Aqualad stood near the center table, serious as ever. Kid Flash was bouncing on his heels. Superboy leaned against a pillar with his arms crossed. Miss Martian floated at the edge of the group, hands folded together. The main screen flicked on. Batman's face appeared, dim lighting behind him, the cowl shadowing his eyes. Team, he said. This is a follow-up to the Bloodhaven incident. And an update on the shield. He glanced slightly to the side of the screen. I knew that meant some of the League were listening off camera. Fine. I took a spot near the wall, arms crossed, not bothering to pretend I was intimidated. Aqualad spoke calmly. We are ready. Batman's gaze moved across the group. 3 days ago, a localized dimensional disturbance formed over Bloodhaven. Before the League could respond, the shield compensated and stabilized it. Robin's jaw shifted slightly, but he stayed quiet. Batman continued. Evidence shows the tier did not fully form. The shield prevented it from reaching the city. That is what we want. Kid Flash grinned. Go, shield. Batman did not react. What we did not expect was that someone would have to manage that response in real time from the ground. Miss Martian, Robin, Rick. He singled us out. I watched him without flinching. Miss Martian floated a little straighter. We were in the lab when the spike happened. Rick took control of the shield section. Robin helped with the redistribution. I monitored the feeling. She hesitated briefly on the last word. Batman focused on her. Your impression? She did not look away. It was controlled. Focused. They knew what they were doing. There was no panic. No, reckless thinking. Just work. I did not sense anything dangerous in their intent. I snorted quietly. Verb. For once someone uses telepathy to say something useful. Batman shifted his attention to me. You adjusted the shield live. Yeah, I said. Verb. Gentle push. Variable tension in the band around the tier. Robin handled part of the controls under my supervision. Mgan tracked the stress from the outside. We closed it. No leakage. No city damage. You're welcome. Kid Flash whispered, he is getting better at the you're welcome part, under his breath. Superboy actually huffed. Batman's tone stayed even. Any side effects from that intervention? Nothing big, I said. Verb. No power surges, no zeta interference, no magical complaints. I tuned it so your toy stayed online. He watched me for a few seconds. There was an unfamiliar energy signature recorded around the tier. I kept my face still. Dimensional stress is messy, I said. Verb. You compress space and time in one spot, you get readings that don't fit in neat categories. Your watchtower sensors are good. They're not built for the kind of detail I read. Miss Martian glanced toward me briefly, then back to Batman. She said nothing. That was good. Batman didn't push that point. You believe the shield handled it correctly? I know it did, I said. Verb. The tier formed, the shield pushed, we directed, it closed. That's a handled event. Aqualad spoke, calm but with respect. If the shield had not been there, or if Rick had not been monitoring, the city could have suffered great damage. Batman inclined his head slightly. Agreed. I did not bother hiding the small flicker of satisfaction in my chest. It was not pride. Just a note that my work was acknowledged by someone whose default setting was suspicion. Batman looked at Robin next. You assisted with live shield control. How confident are you in understanding what you did? Robin straightened. I understand the principles we used. We didn't brute force it. We redirected stress through the lattice and used controlled pulses to discharge it. I could not duplicate the sequence alone yet, but I know why it worked. Batman held his gaze. You understand that shield control is not a game. Yes, Robin said, no hesitation. Batman glanced at Miss Martian one more time. She met his eyes and nodded. He was careful, she added softly. He listened. He did not push past what Rick allowed. Batman considered that. Understood. He looked at me again. You are still under a 25% lattice expansion ceiling. Yeah, I said. Verb. I remember. I can't wrap the planet completely until your committee is satisfied. In the meantime, I keep the parts I do have up from falling apart. There was the slightest hint of dry acceptance in his tone. Continue to do so. The briefing shifted to other topics: the League's current off-world patrols, recovery updates in Metropolis, minor mission notes for the team. I tuned those out and focused on running a quiet UA-1 scan in the background. The meeting ended with Batman's usual abrupt sign-off. The screen went dark. Kid Flash stretched. Well, that was less painful than usual. Standards are low, I said. Verb. Aqualad turned to me. You did well to stabilize the disturbance. I know, I said. Verb. He faintly smiled before turning to give orders about training. Miss Martian drifted close as the others filed out. I told him what I felt. It was the truth. I noticed, I said. Verb. You did all right. I've had worse character witnesses. She smiled warmly at that. Robin stayed near my side, quiet but alert. Red Tornado's voice came over the intercom again. Team, he said. You have a scheduled mission in 4 hours. Stand by for details. Kid Flash made a face. 4 hours? That's enough time to nap. Or eat 22 sandwiches. Eat first, I said. Verb. Sleep later. They dispersed. Robin shot me a questioning look. Are we doing more drone work before the mission? Yeah, I said. Verb. Short session. Then you go play covered agent. We headed back to the lab. For the next hour, we ran through a fresh batch of drone logs, focusing on microdrift in the mid-band. Robin's adjustments were cleaner now. He second-guessed himself less. I pointed out fewer mistakes. Miss Martian sat quietly in a corner near one of the side consoles, not touching anything, just listening. Her presence was calm. She kept her mind to herself. I allowed it. We were halfway through correcting a cluster of orbits when Rai's voice cut in with a sharper tone. Rick. UA-1 activity spike. Both of us froze. Where? I asked. Verb. Multi-point contact, Rai said. UA-1 signature touching 3 segments of the lattice simultaneously. Sectors A4, B6, and D2. One of those is near the anchor fragment. The globe zoomed on its own. 3 points glowed with the amber tone. The shield band rippled around them. Stress levels edged upward. Robin straightened. Is it trying to open another tier? Not the same pattern, I said, watching the graphs. Verb. This is more like probing. I caught myself before I finished the comparison. No metaphors today. Rai added, stress levels are rising in sector B6. If the trend continues, another tier could form within 20 minutes. Miss Martian floated closer, eyes going distant. I feel something again. A pressure. Not as strong as before. More scattered. Great. Busy. Time until mission briefing, Rai, I said. 2 hours, 32 minutes, Rai replied. So not immediate. That helped. A little. I cracked my neck and rolled my shoulders. All right. Verb. Here's how this is going to go. We handle this now. If it stabilizes, you go on your little trip. If it escalates, I may keep you here and let Batman complain about scheduling. Robin's mouth pulled into a small determined line. I can stay if you need me. I don't need you, I said. Verb. I want you here because 2 people watching a live system is better than 1. That's different. He nodded once. Miss Martian's expression tightened slightly in concern, but she stayed quiet. Rai, I said. Drop a soft cage around the 3 UA-1 contact points. I don't want them spreading strain across the whole band. Deploying, Rai said. On the globe, faint rings appeared around each amber point. The lattice inside them thickened. Stress graphs steadied slightly. Good, I said. Verb. Now we watch. For the next 20 minutes, the 3 points pulsed in irregular patterns. The anchor's shell recorded every micromovement. UA-1 pushed, backed off, pushed again. It did not escalate into a tier. It hovered on the edge of a threshold and retreated each time. Testing limits, I muttered. Verb. Whoever they are, they're cautious. Robin tracked the numbers, fingers resting near the controls but not moving. Do you think they know we're watching? No, I said. Verb. They think they're watching us. That anchor is their eye. One they put in the wrong place. Miss Martian's brow furrowed. They feel distant. Not angry. Not afraid. Just curious. Yet, curiosity gets universes broken, I said. Verb. Good thing I'm here. After 25 minutes, the UA1 readings began to fade. One contact point went dark. Then the second. Anchor contact? I asked. Still present, Rai said. UA1 signature receding back along the shell's outer boundary. No attempt to deepen its presence. All right, I said. Verb. Keep logging. That's enough poking for one afternoon. Robin blew out a quiet breath. So they checked the fence again. Yep, I said. Verb. And the fence held. Again. Miss Martian relaxed slightly, shoulders dropping. The pressure is gone. Good, I said. Verb. You two go prep for your mission. If it spikes again before you launch, I'll decide if I need an assistant or not. They both nodded and left, talking quietly in the hallway about gear checks and mission roles. The lab settled. Rai kept humming. I stayed planted in front of the display a while longer, watching the anchor, the shell, and the messy data that came with an unknown neighbor. 2 hours later, the mountain's mission alarm sounded. I could hear the team moving through the corridors. Boots, hurried voices, the clack of equipment. Normal sound for this place. I was back at the console, reviewing the last UA1 wave, when Rai cut in again. UA1 spike, Rai said. Sector E1. This time below the lattice. Inside the atmosphere. I froze. Inside. I repeated. Verb. Show me. The globe shifted. The point glowed over a mid-size city inland, not one of the big headline ones. The shield band above it was calm. The spike sat below that, in open air. Energy density? I asked. Low but rising, Rai said. Pattern is similar to the Bloodhaven pre-tier curve, but smaller. Could become a localized disturbance if it continues. I swore under my breath. In the hall, I heard the team's voices moving toward the Zeta tubes. Rai, I said. Open a channel to the mission room. The wall display flicked to the team, assembled near the Zeta tube Aqualad in front, Kid Flash already vibrating with impatience, Superboy silent, Miss Martian floating, Robin at his usual spot near the console. Batman's face was on a smaller inset, briefing them on a covered operation in Korak. Standard early career stuff. Hostile nation, meta-trafficking, all the usual. I cut in. Verb. Hate to interrupt your spy story hour, Batman, but we've got a UA1 spike over an Earth city. Inside the shield. Starting to look familiar. Batman's eyes snapped to my feed. Location. Rai overlaid the map. Small city. Energy levels currently low, but increasing. Possible tier formation within an hour if unattended, the AI said. Aqualad glanced at Batman. What do you advise? Batman calculated for maybe 2 seconds. Shield stability takes priority. The Korak operation is important, but the League can deploy another team if necessary. Kid Flash groaned. Are you serious? Batman ignored him. Rick. Can you handle it alone? Yes, I said without hesitation. Verb. I can manage a small tier solo. It will be more work. Slower. But I can do it. Robin shifted his weight. I can stay. Help with the lattice again. Batman looked at him. There was no softness. Just assessment. Your team needs you on the ground. You trained with them for this mission. Robin's jaw tightened. I cut in. I can pull him if it escalates. Verb. If that tier spikes past Bloodhaven levels while you're in the field, I open a channel and drag him back here through the nearest Zeta. Batman's eyes went back to me. You're sure you can manage the initial stabilization alone? Yes, I said. Verb. This one is smaller. The pattern is familiar. I have the previous sequences. I'll manage. I saw Robin's shoulders ease, just slightly, at the confidence in my answer. Good. Batman considered, then gave a short nod. Fine. Robin stays with the team. You keep the shield under control. If you need him, you call. I will authorize an emergency pull. Miss Martian looked at my window. Do you need me to monitor, like before? I shook my head. You focus on the mission. Verb. I've got instruments. UA1 wants to play. I'll be here to greet it. Aqualad stepped up. We will trust you to hold the sky, then. Yeah, I said. Verb. Just do your job and don't worry about falling pieces of reality. Kid Flash groaned again. Why does that not make me feel better? Zeta tube activated. Recognized, the system intoned, rattling off their designations. They vanished in light. The screen went back to the globe. I rolled my shoulders once and cracked my fingers. All right. Verb. Show me the spike again, Rai. The UA1 point over the city pulsed with a slow beat. The curve looked like Bloodhaven's first 5 minutes, only weaker. Bring local lattice segments online around it, I said. Verb. Even if it is below the band, I can use the drones as stabilizers. Done, Rai said. I locked my hands on the console and got to work. The tier did not reach Bloodhaven levels. It tried. Every time it nudged higher, I pushed around it. Redirected stress. Used the Bloodhaven pattern as a starting point and refined it. Alone this time. It took 40 minutes of steady adjustment. I did not rush. I did not doubt. I worked. The point dimmed. The stress readings leveled. The atmosphere above that city went back to boring. UA1 contact receding, Rai said. No residual tear detected. I exhaled slowly and leaned back. Good. Verb. How's our anchor? Unchanged, Rai reported. No additional motion inside the shell. So. UA1 had touched the lattice, left a piece, then reached below it. Still careful. Still curious. Still not ready to commit to anything bigger. I could work with that. I checked the mission feed. The team was deep in Korak by then, doing their thing. I shut the window. They were fine. I had my own battlefield. Rai, I said. Log all UA1 events into a single timeline. Anchor, Alpha 24 drains, Bloodhaven, this city. I want the full sequence laid out. There is a pattern. We are going to find it. Compiling now, Rai said. I watched the globe turn, band steady, tiny amber mark sitting quietly in my shield. The universe was getting noisy. I had no problem with that. I just refused to let it be louder than me. Chapter 16, when something watches back. The first time the anchor pulsed, it was almost nothing. Almost. I was in the lab, reviewing the compiled UA1 timeline on the main display, when Rai cut across the background hum. Apocalyption probe detected, Rai reported. Outer band. Same class as previous. I did not bother turning at first. Yet. Verb. Let the lattice slap it away. We've seen that show already. The holographic Earth spun calmly, shield band glowing in its slow rotation. A small red point appeared at the edge of the projection, another of Darkseid's little remote flies trying to buzz my wall. The band flared. The probe hit, energy spread, tracer tagged, deflected. Clean interaction. Routine, at this point. Then the amber anchor in sector F3 rippled. Stop, I said sharply. Verb. Freeze frame. Back it up 2 seconds. Rai rewound the simulation. The apocalyption probe hit the band. At the exact same moment, the anchor buried inside the lattice, wrapped in my invisible shell, brightened by a tiny degree. Only for a fraction of a second. Enough to register. Again, I said. Verb. Run it in slow motion. Probe impact. Lattice flare. Anchor glow. Rai, I said, voice flat, confirm correlation. Confirmed, Rai answered. Anchor fragment resonance coincides with apocalyption contact to within a margin of microseconds. The fragment is reacting to the probe event. I felt something tighten and click in my chest. Not worry. Just the kind of interest that grabbed hold and did not let go. So UA1 is paying attention when Darkseid throws rocks at my shield, I said. Verb. Good to know. Second probe incoming, Rai added. Trajectory similar. Let it hit, I said. Verb. Zoom all feeds on the anchor this time. I want full resolution on the reaction. The second probe came in. It hit the lattice on the opposite side of the globe. The band rippled. The anchor did not just brighten this time. It pulsed in a clear pattern, 3 quick increases, then flat. I pointed. There. Verb. They are not just passively resonating. That is coded acknowledgement. Recording pattern, Rai said. It does not match any known communication protocol. Of course it doesn't, I muttered. Verb. Would be too easy. I pulled up the UA1 log. Now the timeline had another link, every major shield interaction fell into place. Alpha 24S drain. The Bloodhaven stress. The inland microtear. Now 2 apocalyption probe hits with anchor pulses on top. Rai, I said, put Darkseid's probes on one line, UA1 events on another. Overlay. The screen shifted again. 2 parallel bars displayed events in time. Probes at regular intervals, UA1 touching my systems at irregular points. But from the moment the anchor appeared, every apocalyption impact had a small UA1 echo. Observation confirmed, I said. Verb. Someone out there is watching apocalypse through my shield. They left their camera in my house and are using it to spy on my other problem neighbor. A crude description, Rai said, but accurate in effect. Crude works, I said. Verb. Keep logging every resonance. The console chimed with a different tone. Incoming encrypted leak channel, Rai reported. Priority. Origin, Watchtower. Coded as Justice League Council only. You have been invited. I snorted. Verb. Fancy. I tapped the accept switch. Batman's face appeared on the wall display, but the frame widened quickly. The Watchtower Council table came into view. Wonder Woman. Jaeon. Green Lantern. Aquaman. Zathura. Dr. Fate. A few others off frame. Batman did not waste time. Rick. We're holding a formal briefing on unidentified dimensional activity around Earth. Your presence is required. Already dressed for the occasion, I said. Verb. You want me up there in person, or is this another talk to the screen moment? In person, he said. You can bring Miss Martian and Robin. Their involvement in previous incidents is relevant. Rai can hold the fort, I said. Verb. Fine. We're coming. The feed cut. I exhaled once. Rai, keep tracking the anchor. If UA1 sneezes, you log it. Understood, Rai said. I headed out into the hallway. It did not take long to find Robin and Miss Martian. They were in the common area, Robin seated with his tablet, Miss Martian watching some cooking show with Kid Flash and looking bright about it. Field trip, I said. Verb. Watchtower. Leak debrief. They want the three of us. Kid Flash groaned. The fun ones get to go to space again. This place is unfair. Run more, complain less, I said. Verb. Miss Martian muted the screen and floated up, a little nervous. About the unknown energy. Yeah, I said. Verb. Time to tell the teacher we are dealing with something weird without telling him everything. Robin closed his tablet and stood. You think they know a lot already? They know enough to worry, I said. Verb. Come on. We took the Zeta tube to the watchtower. The light faded, and the familiar clean, sterile air greeted us. A League escort did not bother appearing this time. They knew where we were supposed to go. The council room doors opened as we approached. The main table was filled. Batman at one side. Wonder Woman seated upright. Aquaman calm. Martian Manhunter silent. Green Lantern leaned back slightly, arms folded. Zeta and Dr. Fate stood together along the far curve of the room. Everyone turned when we entered. Rick. Miss Martian. Robin, Batman said. Take places at the end of the table. I did not bow. I did not fidget. I just pulled out a chair and sat. Robin took the seat beside me. Miss Martian floated for a second, then sat as well, hands folded in front of her on the table. Jaeon's voice was calm. We are currently tracking several categories of non-standard energy behavior around Earth. Rick Sanchez, your lattice system has revealed patterns our previous sensors could not fully register. That's the idea, I said. Verb. Wonder Woman took over. We want a full picture. We know about Apocalypse. The probes. Darkseid's brief arrival. What we do not understand are the other signatures. The ones not tied to him. Zeta gestured toward a display. It lit up with a simplified version of what I had in my lab. There have been 3 events that do not fit Apocalyptian technology, the Bloodhaven disturbance, the inland microtear, and the nested drain you showed Batman earlier. All share common traits. That suggests a single source. Dr. Fate's helm turned slightly in my direction. The same pattern appeared within Bloodhaven's tear. It brushed my awareness when I examined the residual traces later. I kept my expression flat. So now you know it is not just a sensor glitch. Verb. Good. Saves time. Batman pointed at the projection. You classified this pattern as UA1. I shrugged. Unidentified Actor 1. Verb. I needed a label that did not sound dramatic. Green Lantern nodded toward me. You've been tracking it longer than you've told us. Yeah, I said without apology. Verb. I created that category after Alpha 24's first drain. Once is an anomaly. Twice with similarity is a pattern. Now we have more than twice. Wonder Woman's eyes were steady. Is UA1 hostile? Not yet, I said. Verb. Curious. Persistent. Careful. Whoever it is likes to prod at edges and see what happens, but every interaction so far has been limited. No direct attack. They could have pushed harder. They did not. Zeta folded his arms. Reckless curiosity can still cause collapse, especially in dimensional matters. I know, I said. Verb. That is why I am watching it and not ignoring it. Batman's gaze stayed on me. Tell them about the anchor. Of course he knew. I sighed. Right, send the sanitized log. The central display shifted. My anchor fragment appeared, embedded at the edge of the lattice. The shell was visible in this version, but the tracer details were not. During a recent UA-1 contact, I said, they left a piece of themselves behind inside the shield. It is small. Stable. Not spreading. I wrapped it in a monitoring shell and left it in place. Green Lantern frowned. You left an unknown fragment inside the planetary shield. Yeah, I said. Verb. Because ripping it out would tell them I saw it. Right now, they think they are sneaky. I prefer that. Aquaman's tone was calm but firm. That is a risk. This entire system is a controlled risk, I said. Verb. That is the point. If you want zero risk, shut down space travel and go live in caves. Batman cut through before anyone could react. The fragment has not yet shown growth behavior. It only reacted when apocalyptic probes hit the shield. Zatara turned to him. It reacted to Darkseid's presence. More precisely, I corrected, burp. It reacted to the shield responding to apocalyptic tech. UA-1 is watching how my system handles apocalypse. It is using my field as a lens. Fate's helm tilted. So this is an observer. For now, I said. Verb. Observers can become actors whenever they feel like it. Jaeon leaned forward slightly. Do you believe UA-1 is focused on Earth, on the shield, or on apocalypse? The shield, I said, without hesitation. Verb. That is the common point. Earth is where the shield is. Apocalypse is what hits it. UA-1 is watching the interaction. The anchor proves they want persistent access to my system. Wonder Woman folded her hands. Could this be tied to any known pantheon? Any of the higher powers? The old gods? The new gods beyond Apocalypse and New Genesis? Zatara and Dr. Fate exchanged a brief look. Zatara answered first. The energy does not behave like standard divine interference. It does not carry the same imprint as Olympus, or the Lords of Order I am familiar with. It touches structures, not minds or vows. Dr. Fate's tone stayed even. It echoes certain higher harmonics associated with cosmic order, but it does not originate from the same sources. It is adjacent, not identical. Translation, I said. Verb. It could be something on the level of those entities, or it could be a very smart engineer with unusual tools. You do not know yet. Fate did not argue. Which meant he agreed. Batman looked at me again. What do you propose we do with the anchor? Keep it, I said. Verb. Monitor it. Use it. It has already proven that UA-1 reacts to external events through it. Every probe Darkseid throws, the anchor blinks. That is data. If UA-1 ever decides to push harder, that anchor will be the first place they use. If I cage it right, I can track that. Green Lantern frowned. And if it turns into a doorway? I will close that section, I said. Verb. Hard. I built this system. I know every connection. I know where to cut and where to reinforce. That anchor is lodged in my territory, not the other way around. Wonder Woman's eyes stayed on me. You are certain you can contain it if it changes? Yes, I said. Verb. And if I see any sign that it is moving beyond my tolerance level, I will tell you. I do not want a hole in my wall any more than you do. There was a short stretch of silence as they all processed. Miss Martian spoke softly from her seat. When UA-1 touches the shield or the air, it never feels angry. Or cruel. It just feels focused. Measuring. It scares me a little, but not in the same way as Darkseid. It feels different. Dr. Fate regarded her for a moment. Your impression matches what I sensed in Bloodhaven's residue. There was intent, but no malice. Not yet. Batman finally gave a small nod. For the time being, the anchor stays. But we require direct feed access to your UA1 logs. I can mirror them, I said. Verb. Read only. You see what I see. You do not get control over how I respond unless you want to build your own shield from scratch. Zatara looked at the projected waves. I would like to see them as well. Magic and science both operate in patterns. If this is something beyond both, we will need both sets of eyes. That can be arranged, I said. Verb. I will pipe a copy of UA1 data to a separate secure bank you can access. Off-core. No direct link back into my systems. Batman accepted that. Do it. Right. Start a mirrored UA1 feed for Watchtower Secure Node Alpha Council, I said. Verb. Include anchor logs, drains, and tier events. No tracer routing. Setting up now, Rai's voice came faintly through the room speakers. Feed will be ready shortly. Wonder Woman looked around the table. Then we proceed on this assumption, UA1 is an observer, currently non-hostile, with access to our shield. We monitor. We prepare. We do not provoke without cause. The room gave various signs of agreement. The meeting shifted to other matters. Off-world patrol rotations. Apocalyptian probe interception numbers. Standard council rhythm. Eventually, we were dismissed. On the way out, Zatara and Dr. Fate approached me near the hallway leading to the Zeta Bay. Zatara spoke first. If you see another tier form, call us sooner. If it reaches a level where I need you, I will, I said. Verb. I am not interested in testing my limit by myself just to be dramatic. Dr. Fate's helm tilted slightly. This UA1 interests me. If it is tied to something above the usual planes, we must know. Not for curiosity. For balance. Balance keeps itself better when you know where the weights are, I said. Verb. Trust me, I get it. They left together. I headed back to the Zeta pad with Robin and Miss Martian. Back at the mountain, the next days followed a rough rhythm. Training. Missions. Shield tuning. UA1 tracking. The anchor pulsed whenever a probe hit. Small. Regular. That pattern repeated enough times that even Rai started compressing the log as standard resonance. It was the non-standard one that changed things again. We were in the lab, Robin and I doing another run through orbital drift logs, Miss Martian in the corner as usual, quietly watching and occasionally feeling for odd spikes, when Rai spoke. Rick, Rai said. UA1 anchor is resonating without an apocalyptian trigger. I looked up fast. Source. Simultaneous spike in magical readings, Rai answered. Coordinates match a location in New England. High-level sorcery. Zatara and Dr. Fate are already in the field. Tower of Fate proximity detected. I blinked once. Rai, show me the anchor and the external spike together. The main display split. On the left, the anchor in the lattice pulsed in a new pattern. On the right, a map showed a surge of energy near a familiar point, the Tower of Fate's region. The pulse directions matched. Anchor. Tower. Anchor. Tower. This is tied to the team's mission, Robin realized quietly. They went after Kent Nelson and the Tower of Fate today. That tracked with the timeline from the show lodged in my head. Clarion. Kent. Fate. Chaos. So now UA1 was interested in that mess too. Right, open an auxiliary feed to Watchtower for this, I said. Verb. Zatara and Fate need to see the correlation. Already sending, Rai said. The lab speakers chimed again moments later. Incoming call, Rai said. Origin, Dr. Fate. I did not even ask how he got a direct line. I just nodded. The helm appeared on my display, golden and still. Rick Sanchez, Fate said. Your lattice displays a resonance during the tower's current involvement. Yeah, I said. Verb. I am looking at it. UA1's anchor is blinking in sync with your big magic show. Describe it, he demanded. It echoes your field, I said. Verb. Not perfect. It is delayed by a fraction. But the anchor reacts when the tower's field spikes. That means UA1 is not only watching Apocalypse. It is watching your work too. Zatara's voice filtered from off-screen. Can you amplify the image and send it? Already did, I said. Verb. Rise got your back. On the right half of the screen, the tower's signature flared again. On the left, the anchor reacted. Robin leaned forward. The rhythm changed compared to the probes. Because this is a different input, I said. Verb. Apocalyptian warp is one tone. Tower of Fate magic is another. UA1 is tapping both through the same anchor. Miss Martian's eyes unfocused. The feeling is stronger now. It is more present. Focused on one point. On the tower, I said. Verb. Figures. Fate spoke again. Can you adjust the lattice to let more of this signature through? You want to use my shield as your own sensor, I said. Verb. Fine. But I am not turning it into a beacon. You will not, Fate said. I will. Zatara added, we can examine it from this side. You hold the space stable. Let us read through your shell. Right, I said. Verb. Increase internal sampling resolution on anchor by 2 levels. Do not increase its external visibility. Route a duplicate of the sample stream to Watchtower channel Fate 1. Done, Rai said. We watched. The team's mission played out in real time somewhere else. Clarion's interference, the tower shifting, Fate's helm coming into play. That was all happening out there, within the story this world already expected. In here, in my lab, UA1's anchor watched it with us. The pulses sharpened. The internal pattern inside the fragment unfolded another layer. Still no clear signal, but more complexity. Zatara's voice came faintly through. This is not a spell. Not in any tradition I know. Fate sounded focused. It is not chaos. It is not order. It touches both but belongs to neither. Translation, I said. Verb. Someone above your usual level is peeking through any window that looks interesting. Apocalypse. Tower of Fate. My shield. They do not care about the labels. Miss Martian flinched slightly, then steadied. They feel closer. Not close enough to touch. But not as distant as before. Can they see the team? Robin asked. No, I said firmly. Verb. They are looking at the big structures. The shield. The tower. The probe impacts. They are not zoomed in on people. If they were, you would feel it more sharply. Fate's helm turned in the hologram. You are sure? Yes, I said. Verb. The scale is wrong for personal interest. This is about systems. They are studying them. They probably do not care which mask is on which child. There was a long pause from the other end. Finally, Fate said, then for now, we add UA1 to the list of forces that observe. We do not bow. We do not call. We simply remain aware. Works for me, I said. Verb. The tower's energy peaked. The anchor pulsed hard once, then dimmed. The external magical signature settled. On our end, the graphs quieted. Zatara's voice came softer. The mission is concluding. We will talk more after. The call dropped. Robin let out a small breath. So UA-1 is not just some random experimenter. It is watching gods, demons, your shield, and warlords from space. Yeah, I said. Verb. That does not make them a god. It makes them big. There is a difference. Miss Martian frowned. Do you think they care about us at all? Right now? I said. Verb. No. We are part of the background. That is good. It buys us time. We only have a problem if they decide to change that. She accepted that with a small nod. Right, I said. Verb. Archive the tower correlation as a separate log category, UA-1 magic. Tag it to both Zatara and Fate's feed. Done, Rai replied. The lab settled again. The globe spun. The anchor sat, quiet for the moment. Robin rested his hands on the console edge. So now we have Apocalypse, the gods, magic, and UA-1 all in the same story. Welcome to a busy universe, I said. Verb. Good thing you have me. He smirked faintly at that, then started scrolling through the latest UA-1 logs, eyes scanning with more purpose than before. Miss Martian watched him, then looked at the globe again. Her expression was serious and calm. In a way, nothing changed. In another way, everything did. The shield was still mine. The anchor was still lodged in it. The world still turned under our feet. And UA-1 was still out there, paying attention. That was enough for now.